Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast, where we delve into the powerful benefits of a holistic, high raw vegan lifestyle for achieving optimal health, brain function, and overall well-being. It's not just about personal health, we're also passionate about community development and creating a culture of health through business and collaboration. Join us as we explore the intersection of raw food, holistic health, and community building to empower ourselves and others to live our best lives. I'm your host, Samantha Salmon, certified integrative nutrition coach and brain health licensed trainer, and today we are talking about why I've switched to bamboo paper towels and toilet paper. It's April, which is Earth Month, Environmental Awareness Month. It's not the official title for the month, but everyone's focused on the environment. I've made an environmental switch, but from a very selfish place for my personal health. The same thing with my diet is the reason why I made this switch. And it all plays into the lifestyle of this, this healthy lifestyle. It's not just about what you're eating and putting inside of you. It's also what you're putting on you, because what you're putting on you gets in. So we're going to dive deeper into that. But before we get started, I want to let you know about some helpful resources on rawfoodmealplanner.com. If you're looking to boost your overall health and well-being, which I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this podcast, that is probably you, there are two powerful ways to achieve this. And that's by diversifying your gut microbiome and practicing intermittent fasting. Two things that I'm heavily focused on and that I highly, highly recommend. So your gut microbiome is essential to various bodily functions, including digestion, metabolism, immune system function, and even mental health. So by diversifying it, you can promote a healthy balance of bacteria, which can lead to improved digestion, stronger immunity, and better mood and brain function. And that's why we've created a handy checklist on how to diversify your gut microbiome, which you can access for free. You just go to rawfoodmealplanner.com and you'll see a link for it on the homepage. Another fantastic way to improve your health is by practicing intermittent fasting. It's been shown to aid in weight loss, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and enhance brain function. These are all the reasons why I've been doing it for years, but getting started can be overwhelming. That's why we've also created a helpful strategies sheet called Fasting Made Easy in 7 Steps. It provides practical steps for reducing stress, improving sleep, and staying motivated, making it simpler for you to stick to an intermittent fasting routine and enjoy the benefits. Now, both of these resources are on the homepage. You can go to rawfoodmealplanner.com and download them. And when you get them and you start using them, definitely email me and let me know how it's been helping you. What are the struggles and challenges that you've been experiencing, and if there's any more support that you need in this area? I'd love to know. So, have you heard that toilet paper is a significant source of PFAS chemicals? Now, some of you may be new to the podcast, so let me just kind of take a step back for a minute and talk about why PFAS chemicals are so bad. Like, what are they, right? So PFAS are synthetic chemicals that are found in many products, right? The first time I heard about it was in nonstick cookware, right, by DuPont. And Netflix did a whole documentary on this, but we were aware in the health and wellness arena, we were aware of this even before the Netflix documentary, because Environmental Working Group was calling the alarm on this for quite some time before Netflix did the documentary. But the documentary is really good to watch. I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm so sorry. But you could probably Google Netflix documentary on PFAS chemicals or Netflix documentary on DuPont, because DuPont is the company that first came out with this, and they were doing the Teflon coated pots and pans, right? And everyone was all excited about these pots and pans because it's like no scratch, non-stick, so your stuff could basically look like brand new, and you don't have to end up with, putting too much labor into washing these pots and pans, right? Which honestly, we could do ourselves a favor just by eating more raw and not having to deal with this. And we'll get into all that later. But this was the first time that I heard about these PFAS chemicals was, through nonstick cookware. So, okay, fine. Don't use nonstick cookware, right? Because not only because it's of its existence, but specifically because of the health issues, right? So exposure to PFAS chemicals have been linked to decrease in fertility, elevated blood pressure, a risk of cancers like prostate cancer, kidney cancer, testicular cancer, reduced ability for the body's immune system to fight infections, including vaccine response. Or for those of you who are vaccinated, this is also a concern. Interference with natural hormones, our own hormonal balance, higher cholesterol levels, right? So, there's dietary cholesterol, but yet there's also higher cholesterol levels coming from these chemicals, which is just scary. And also an increased likelihood of obesity. And this makes sense to me because obesity is excess fat. And what is fat? This is just storage for toxins, right? This is where toxins are stored. So if you have accumulation of toxins, they're going to store in that adipose tissue. So hence, therefore, obesity, right? So all of that makes sense. So this is why it's like, okay, we stay away from the non-stick pans. But lo and behold, not only is it in the pots and pans, but it's also in other stuff too that we have to be mindful of, even clothes, And so I wrote a whole long blog post on the website, which I will link in the show notes, going into detail on, how to minimize your exposure, how to make sure, that you're looking out for PFAS chemicals, and just to stay on track with the whole conversation in regards to paper towels and toilet tissue. It's really bothersome that you could be using something in your private regions, right? Especially for women where, when you're wiping your vulva, it's connected to your inside. That's the whole thing, is like you put something on the outside, but the pores open up and absorb all these toxic chemicals. And it's going directly into a very delicate, open, exposed, crucial area that's connected to so much. If PFAS chemicals are connected to ovarian cancer and and thyroid function, I know there's a lot of you who are listening who have thyroid dysfunction. PFAS chemicals is linked to that as well. But it's linked to ovarian cancer and reproductive issues, and it's in the toilet tissue that we're wiping ourselves with. So one of the recommendations is to avoid the regular toilet tissue and go to bamboo, right? So I searched on Thrive Market, and I didn't really have to search far because they have that alternative there for toilet tissue and paper towels. So I made the switch to both of them. Again, this is all in an effort to minimize exposure to toxic chemicals for all of the reasons, that I explained above. I'm concerned about my hormones, and when your hormones are out of whack, it also can send your mental state out of whack as well. And we all need a very good mental state in order to have good relationships and to build wealth, right? I know that's important for all of you listening. So it's critical. This is where our health is our wealth. It all goes hand in hand, right? And, there are articles and things out there talking about the environmental hazards and things like this. And yes, But I find that, for some people, there's kind of a disconnect, because if environmental hazards were that important to us, we would have already made changes. But I know for me, the motivator is my personal health. So I did want to bring this to your attention that, it's not just about the environment. We are the environment, right? Whatever's going on with the environment, we're affected. And this is how we're being affected by this toxin. And, there's additional benefits to that. Just like with the food, right? You eat high raw vegan, not only are you helping your own health, right? All these functions, brain health, metabolism, immune system, hormonal health, all of this stuff you're helping, and it helps the environment, right? It's the same thing with this, because why? We're all connected. All of it is connected. We are not separate. We are part of this quote unquote environment, right? We are the environment is us. And so I want you to know about this. The toilet tissue and the paper towels and some of the cosmetics that folks are putting on their face, body care products and things, have these PFAS chemicals in them, right? And when we think about epigenetics and how these things are stored and they're forever chemicals, that is the thing that's dangerous about this stuff. It's forever chemicals. The definition of forever chemicals means you can't get it out the environment, right? It's very hard to break down. So it's piling up in landfill, sewage, waterways, and all this stuff. It's getting into our water supply, which is one of the things that I mentioned on the blog, is making sure you have a water filter, right? Part of this whole, and I see NAACP is supposed to have a seminar on this weekend, and I'm not sure when I'm going to publish this podcast, if it'll be before or after, probably after, but they're talking about, water, in our communities, and making sure we have access to clean water. This is an environmental issue for a lot of us. And this is one of the issues. This is part of that issue. These PFAS chemicals, and people dumping pharmaceuticals and stuff in the water, and So having a filtration system, it's not one of those, once I get this thing, once I get this kind of money, no, it's like a basic need is water. And with that basic need is a filter. We need a filter. When I moved to Orlando, the first thing my neighbor told me was, listen, there's chlorine. They put chlorine in the water. And I was surprised to hear this, because this is from a person who's not health conscious, but this is how serious it is. It's not a health conscious action. It's like everybody needs to pay attention to this. Some of the issues that have happened that have made it to mainstream national news, I think, has really highlighted this, but I'm not sure how many of us are really taking it as seriously as we need to take it. Like the water situation is just as important as clean food. We need to get rid of these toxins, right? Making these dietary changes is important, but these toxins, regardless of what your health goal is or your health issue, these toxins are a mess. They are working against us, right? And so we need to be advocating on many different levels. The first advocacy is with yourself and making the change for yourself in your own home. And then letting your friends, family, coworkers know, hey, XYZ, did you know that when you use this, it's causing this? But people get overwhelmed when they hear some of these things, because, when you feel like you don't have a solution, it could feel overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, the world's just going to consume me, right? There's nothing I could do. I'm just going to die or whatever. But it doesn't have to be like that. That's why you offer the solution, which my solution to you is to, honestly, with Thrive Market, I get all my dry goods from there. And it was so easy, right? They only have the two options. They have the recycled, 100% recycled paper, this is an issue, right? and then they have the bamboo. Okay, so I'm telling you, forget recycled paper, forget unbleached paper. Now we're at the point where we need to be using bamboo. Yeah, so, if Thrive Market is not an option for you, which I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, because they deliver everywhere, then, maybe you could find a health food store or something nearby. But I don't see why Thrive Market wouldn't be accessible. And I do care about accessibility. So definitely, if this is something with you, issue with you where you feel like it's not accessible, reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to know, where are you and why? Why wouldn't it be accessible to you? Maybe there's something I'm not aware of that I should be made aware of. So educate me. I love to share information that I know with you all, and I would love for it to be a two-way street. So you could share that with me. And so in the same vein of overwhelm, right? Because, different people are at different stages of the journey. One of the things that I go into detail on this blog towards the end is like, okay, so all this information about the chemicals, how to change it, how to look out for it so you can avoid it. You may be getting overwhelmed. And so we go into detail on how to juggle, living this life, a busy life as a busy health leader. I know most of you listening to me are health leaders in your space, either working in the nonprofit sector or in the health space as like nurses or first responders, firefighters, different functions. You're serving the community, right? Which is awesome work. And it's also overwhelming, right? Because you're so busy, you're giving so much to humanity and to the community. It's a struggle sometimes, like, what do I have left for myself? And this is really the balancing act of, for me, I call it adulting, right? It's adulting. It's the balancing act of showing up as your best self, which means doing the self-care so that you can give that community care, right? And this is part of it, right? If my body's doing well and my hormones aren't being disrupted, my mental state can be well, which means that I can give my best self to those around me. So it's a priority, right? And understanding that connection and understanding that priority helps everything else fall in line. And making this switch took me not long. After I knew the information, it literally was like 2 minutes. Log on to Thrive, change my auto ship options from the recycled towels, paper towels and toilet tissue to the bamboo. It was that simple. All right. Shout out to the bamboo paper product suppliers who are making this thing so easy, right? So we can move away from that. And, if you want to take it a step further, you can connect. I did include on the blog 2 organizations that this is part of their work to try to do something about all these chemicals in our environment. You can take your advocacy to the next level. But at the bare minimum, if we all divested our money from chemical products, then there wouldn't be a market for it, right? So capitalism, that's how it works in capitalism. Money speaks very loudly. You vote every time with your dollars. So anyway, have a great, great day. And I'll see you next time on the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. Be well.